He disappeared for years. When he came back, it seemed like just an emotional reunion. Deep down, he was hiding something so serious, so unforgivable, it would destroy everything left of his own family. Imagine seeing the son you cried for every single day, only to discover a secret that will shake your happiest memories. This is the true story of pain, hope, dark secrets, the final revelation no one could have imagined. Get ready to meet Daniel, a missing son who returned, but in the end, revealed something unforgivable. Emotional stories, family secrets, forgiveness, betrayal, all told with details that will make you cry and keep you hooked until the very last second. Because sometimes, love also destroys. If you love emotional stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Here, we always have emotional stories that touch your heart. Shall we hear today's emotional story?
Imagine a son disappearing without a trace. Years of silence, sleepless nights, a family torn apart by pain. Now imagine that same son showing up out of nowhere at the front door, looking into his mother's eyes. But he's not alone. He carries a secret so heavy, so terrible, that it will change everything forever. This is one of those emotional stories that touch the soul. Stories that make us cry, reflect, feel fear and hope all at once. And until the very last second, you'll want to know, what is the secret this son has kept for so many years? This is not just another story. It's an open wound that will make you ask, how far does a mother's love go? She waited for years for an answer, and what she found was a truth that nearly destroyed her. But don't think you already know what's going to happen. This story has plot twists no one could ever imagine. And in the end, you might find yourself torn. Forgive or not? Love or protect yourself? Keep watching until the end because the secret this son hid might be more shocking than it seems. And comment, what do you think happened during all those missing years? The story begins in a small town, with simple houses and cobblestone streets. The mother, Marta, 50 years old, brown hair with strands of gray, tired eyes but full of hope, has lived alone ever since her son, Daniel, disappeared at age 16. Every day she walks the same path to the local police station, asks for news, and walks back home looking down the road, hoping to see him return. The house feels frozen in time. His room remains untouched. Clothes folded, toys in place, even a note he left the day he vanished. Mom, I'll be back soon. This suffocating routine repeats year after year, filling her life with pain, guilt, and an almost unbearable hope. Marta, a woman with sad eyes but surprising strength. She carries the guilt of having argued with her son the day he disappeared. She wakes up every night hoping to hear footsteps in the hallway. Every birthday she bakes a cake, lights a candle, but always blows it out alone. On a cold night, nearly 10 years later, Marta hears knocks at the door. It's late, the wind howls, and she hesitates before opening it. When she opens the door wide, Daniel is there. Older, worn face, unshaven, deep eyes. He says, "Mom, can I come in?" Marta hugs him with all her strength, breathing him in, feeling his real weight. But something feels off. He doesn't smile, avoids looking her in the eye, carries only one worn-out, nearly empty backpack. And in those first few minutes, Marta already senses he didn't just come back out of longing. He came back hiding something. Little by little, Marta tries to find out where he's been. Daniel replies with vague phrases, like, "It was hard, Mom. I had to disappear." She presses him, but he dodges. He seems afraid of something, glancing out the window as if someone might show up. That first night, Marta awakens and finds Daniel sitting on the edge of the bed, quietly crying. He whispers to himself, "I need to tell her, but she won't understand." On the second day, Marta notices Daniel never takes off his long-sleeve shirt, even in the heat, and that he carries only one thing in his backpack, an old notebook, always sealed with an elastic band. Trying to reconnect, Marta cooks his favorite meal, but Daniel can barely eat. With every spoonful, it's like he's swallowing his fear too. Why did he leave? And more importantly, what did he bring back? Did he commit a crime? Is he running from someone? Did he have another life? Before bed, Daniel lets a phrase slip to his mother. "Mom, if I tell you, Will you promise not to hate me? Crying, Marta says nothing could ever make her stop loving him, but Daniel only lowers his head and stays silent. The reunion is emotional. Marta gently washes his clothes. He helps tidy the backyard. For the first time in years, she smiles again. But something heavy is coming. Marta opens her bedroom door without knocking and sees Daniel sitting on the floor holding the open notebook, crying uncontrollably. She asks, "Daniel, what did you write in that notebook?" He looks up at her and answers only, "It's my confession."
Marta stands frozen at the door. She sees her son holding the notebook with trembling hands, tears running down his face. "Daniel, my son, show me what's in there." But Daniel quickly closes the notebook, as if protecting something forbidden. "Not yet, Mom. I'm not ready." The silence between them seems to scream. The house feels colder. Marta notices that since Daniel came back, the light seems dimmer, the corners darker. The wind hits the windows, and every sound makes Daniel flinch. During the day, he avoids going out. He spends hours sitting, staring into nothing. And at night, Marta hears him talking to himself. "I didn't want to, but it was the only way." Marta feels a storm inside. Relief that her son is back. Fear of discovering something that could destroy the image she held of him. Guilt. Was she somehow responsible for what happened? And even so, she wants to know the truth, no matter how painful it is. One day, Marta wakes up and finds Daniel sitting on the porch, the notebook open. He looks at her, eyes red from crying all night. "Mom, I need to start telling you, but promise me you'll listen to the end." She sits next to him, heart racing. "The night I disappeared, I didn't run away because I wanted to." Daniel pauses for a long moment, as if he's struggling to breathe. "I wanted to come back earlier, Mom, but I was afraid of putting you in danger." Marta hugs her son tightly. "I don't care about any danger, Daniel. I just want you here." What could be so serious that Daniel can't even tell his own mother? The next night, Marta wakes up to a noise in the kitchen. She goes there and sees Daniel burning torn-out pages from the notebook. "Daniel, why?" He replies, "Because if someone finds this, we're finished." Marta, shocked, tries to save the pages from the fire, but it's too late. Seeing her mother's desperation, Daniel promises, "I'll tell you everything, Mom, but not yet. I need courage." During the day, Daniel seems calm. He helps his mom with chores. He goes to the backyard, tends the plants. But at night, the torment returns. Nightmares, tremors, whispers of regret. One afternoon, Marta finds an old photo in his pants pocket. Daniel, at 16, smiling. On the back, written, "Never forget who you were." Marta asks, "Why this photo, Daniel?" He stares at it, voice breaking, "Because I almost forgot myself." Marta decides to ask again, more firmly, "Daniel, I need to know. Did you do something bad? Did you hurt someone?" Daniel hesitates, looks at the floor. "I don't know if you'll forgive me." Could it be that the son she waited for all these years now carries guilt for something unforgivable? At night, Marta walks past his room and hears him, "I shouldn't have come back, but she deserved to know." She slowly opens the door and finds Daniel writing frantically in the notebook. The audience wonders, who is she? What does Daniel think she deserves to know? What is the secret that haunts him so deeply? This is one of those emotional stories that make us wonder, do we really know the ones we love? What do you think Daniel is hiding? Leave your theory in the comments below. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this far, but stay tuned because the best and most shocking is still to come. Marta sees Daniel holding the notebook, staring out the window, whispering, "Tomorrow, maybe tomorrow I'll tell everything." Marta stands behind him, tears falling, praying silently. The next day, Daniel wakes up early and stares into the bathroom mirror, as if trying to recognize himself. Outside the door, Marta takes a deep breath.
gathering the courage to ask again. Son, yesterday you said you might tell me everything today. Will you tell me? Daniel takes a deep breath, looks into her eyes, his voice trembling. I'll tell you part of it, but not everything yet. Daniel begins. The day I disappeared, I was taken by a man who claimed to know our past. Marta frowns. What past? Ours? What do you mean? Daniel hesitates. He said you were hiding something from me, something that would change everything. Marta loses her breath. Daniel, I never hid anything from you. But deep down, she remembers something from the past she never told. Daniel says, I spent years with him. He taught me to hate you, made me believe you were the reason everything went wrong in my life. Marta crying, my son, I never wanted to hurt you. Daniel looks down, his hands are sweating. Marta tries to hold back the tears. The house silent, as if holding its breath with them. Daniel continues, but one day, I found out he lied. It wasn't you, the problem was him. And that's when something terrible happened. Marta asks, trembling, what was it? Daniel lowers his head. I still can't say. Marta hugs her son. Son, I don't want to lose you again. Whatever it is, I'll love you just the same. Daniel cries on her shoulder, but still clutches the notebook to his chest. Marta asks, that notebook, is it about everything that happened all those years? Daniel nods. I wrote it so I could remember who I was and who I became. The next day, while Daniel sleeps, Marta enters his room. She slowly opens his backpack, looking for answers. She finds an old photo of Daniel with an unknown man, a yellowed newspaper clipping. The clipping reads, Missing teen may be linked to unsolved crime. Marta is in shock. Crime? My son? What crime could it be? Is Daniel hiding or protecting someone? Why can't he see everything? That night, Marta decides to confront him. Daniel, who was this man in the photo? Daniel hesitates, then says, he's the one who took me. I called him uncle, but he wasn't my uncle. He made me do things, Mom, things I regret to this day. Marta asks, did you hurt someone? Daniel stays silent, tears falling. Marta sits on the edge of despair, desperate for the truth. Daniel cries in the dark. Marta prays in her room, on her knees. The notebook always near him, like part of his body. Daniel starts speaking to himself at night. They'll never forgive me, not even her. Marta hears from behind the door, not knowing who she is. At breakfast, Daniel seems calmer. Mom, thank you for still seeing me as your son. Marta replies, I waited years for this moment. I'll never give up on you. Marta takes the newspaper clipping to an old friend who's now a police chief. She asks, do you remember this case? The chief nods. Yes, it was serious, but there was never enough evidence. He looks Marta in the eye. Your son knows more than he's told, doesn't he? Marta stays silent, feeling the weight of protecting Daniel, even without knowing what he did. Back home, Daniel sits in the dark, staring into nothing. He says, Mom, tomorrow I'll tell you everything. Marta asks, afraid, why tomorrow? Why not now? He takes a deep breath. Because tomorrow is the day it all started, and maybe the day it all ends. What do you think will happen tomorrow? Leave your theory in the comments. Thank you for watching this far, but don't go away. In the next part, the revelation begins, and it will change everything you thought you knew. Daniel in his room writes frantically in the notebook. Tomorrow, she'll know everything. Marta outside, with her ear to the door, quietly cries.
It's the middle of the night. Marta can't sleep, walks around the house in silence, passes by Daniel's bedroom door, and hears him talking to himself. She needs to know, but she'll hate me. Marta leans against the door, hands sweating cold. What could be so terrible? Morning breaks. Daniel wakes up before sunrise, looks out the window, takes a deep breath. Today is the day he promised to tell everything. In the hallway, Marta feels her heart racing. Today, finally. Sitting at the kitchen table, Daniel speaks slowly, his voice trembling. Mom, the man who took me, he said he knew who my real father was. Marta turns pale. Daniel, what are you talking about? Your father died when you were a baby. Daniel, almost crying, he said no, that my real father was alive, and that you had lied my whole life. Marta's legs give out. She nearly falls from her chair. Daniel, She stops. Daniel opens a notebook in front of her. I wrote it all down here, everything he told me, everything I lived through. Marta looks at the pages filled with phrases, dates, names. Daniel, voice choked with emotion, he made me believe you were the cause of all my pain, that you had taken my father from me. Marta, crying, my son, I always protected you. I never wanted to hurt you. Daniel takes a deep breath. But after years, I found out he lied to me too. Marta asks, desperate, and who was that man, Daniel? The house feels tight, like the walls are about to collapse. The ticking of a clock makes everything feel slower. Daniel says, he was a relative of my biological father, and he hated me because he thought I was the living proof of the family's shame. Marta closes her eyes, tears falling. My God, that's what I was afraid of. Daniel looks at his mother, crying. Even then, even believing you had ruined my life, I could never hate you, Mom. Marta holds his hand tightly. She decides to tell part of the truth. Your biological father didn't die. He left before you were born. I hid that because I was afraid you'd blame me. Daniel, shocked. Why? Marta, because he was dangerous, Daniel. I wanted to protect you. The man who took Daniel knew about this past and used it to manipulate him. Daniel, he used me as bait to get to you. Said he wanted revenge. Marta shaking. Did he force you to do something? Daniel lowers his head, doesn't respond. What did he make you do, Daniel? Daniel begins to tremble. I can't tell you everything yet, Mom, but I'll tell you one more thing. Marta waits, heart nearly stopping. That night, years ago, I was forced to be part of something. I didn't want to, but he said if I didn't do it, he would kill you. Marta covers her mouth, horrified. My God, what was it, Daniel? Daniel cries uncontrollably. I did something that still haunts me to this day, Mom, and that's why I disappeared for so many years. I couldn't come back. I thought you'd never forgive me. Marta hugs his son with all her strength. Son, I don't know what it was, but I will never stop loving you. The notebook closed on the table, the sound of thunder in the distance. What did he do that was so serious? What was the crime? Who else is involved? Marta decides to call the police chief again. I need to know more about that case from the newspaper. The chief says, I'll meet you early tomorrow. There's something you need to know. What do you think Daniel did in the past? Do you think he deserves forgiveness? Thank you for watching until now, but don't leave. In the next segment, we begin to uncover what really happened that night. It's morning. Marta arrives early at the police station, her heart racing. The detective receives her in a private room, his expression serious. Marta, do you remember the case of that man found dead years ago? They never found who was with him. Marta feels a chill. Yes, but what does that have to do with my son? The detective hesitating. That man was the same one you showed me in the photo, the man Daniel said took him. Marta is in shock. What do you mean? The detective. We believe Daniel was with him the night he died, but disappeared before the police arrived. Marta trembling. So my son is involved? The detective firmly. We don't know if he's a victim or an accomplice. Marta leaves the station, her mind spinning. The son she waited years for might be involved in a man's death, even if he was forced to. At home. Back home, Marta finds Daniel in the yard, staring into the distance. Daniel, I went to the police station. Daniel closes his eyes as if he expected this. Mom, that night, he told me to get in the car with him, said we were going to pick someone up, but something went wrong. Marta, her voice trembling. What went wrong? He starts to cry. I didn't want to, Mom. I swear I didn't. Marta holds his hand. Son, whatever it is, tell me. Daniel takes a deep breath. That night, there was a fight. He tried to force me to do something terrible. I resisted. He hit me, and I pushed him. Marta with tears. And then? He fell, hit his head, and never got up. Marta covers her mouth, shocked. I panicked, Mom, ran without looking back, spent years blaming myself, thinking I was a murderer.
But could it really have been an accident? Is he telling the whole truth or hiding something worse? Marta wants to believe it was just an accident, but something in Daniel's eyes says he's still hiding something bigger. Daniel, the worst part wasn't that, Mom. The worst was what I found out after. Marta, barely breathing. What did you find out? He wasn't just a kidnapper. He was part of something bigger, and I found names. Important people. Marta, son, did you write that in the notebook? Daniel, yes. But if anyone finds it, my life is over. Marta hugs her son. Nothing will make me abandon you, Daniel. That night, Daniel sleeps hugging the notebook to his chest as if it's the only thing keeping him sane. Marta remembers something. On the last page of the notebook, there was a faded sentence, "What I did wasn't just for me." She wonders, for who then? Who else was he trying to protect? Is someone in the family involved? Marta calls the detective again. Do you think my son is in danger? The detective. Marta, if he knows names of powerful people, yes. Marta decides, then I will protect him even if it's the last thing I do. Daniel, looking at his mother, Mom, do you still love me even after everything I told you? Marta, crying, always. You're my son. Nothing will change that. Daniel says, but I haven't told you everything yet, Mom. There's something worse. Marta is breathless. What could be worse than killing someone, even by accident? Thanks for staying until now. In the next chapter, the heaviest secret comes out and it will change everything. Daniel sits alone in the room, running his hand over the closed notebook. He whispers to himself, tomorrow I'll tell everything, even if it destroys me.
The day begins heavy. The sky is overcast, as if nature itself feels the weight of what's about to happen. Daniel wakes up, looks at the notebook on the table, and takes a deep breath. Today, I tell everything. Daniel calls Marta to sit. His voice breaks, but he forces the words out. Mom, after he died, I found documents inside his car. Marta, heart racing. Documents of what, Daniel? They were names, addresses, photos, things that proved he wasn't working alone. He was part of something bigger. Marta, shocked, but what was it? Daniel, I'm not sure, but it seemed like a network that even involved authorities. And there was a photo of me and one of you, Mom. Marta covers her mouth, stunned. Me? Daniel cries, Mom, I think they wanted to use you. Maybe use me against you. Maybe hurt you, or worse. Marta's legs weaken. My God. And you've been running all these years because of that? Daniel grabs her hand tightly. I ran because if I showed up, they'd find you too. I wanted to protect you, Mom. Marta starts crying. You stayed alone all this time because of me? Daniel, and that's not all, Mom. There was another name in the documents. Marta, trembling, who? Daniel swallows hard. Someone you know. Someone very close. Marta feels a chill run down her spine. Who, Daniel? Tell me. Daniel, with tears. I still can't say, but I promise I will. The wind hits the windows, doors creak, the atmosphere grows heavier. Daniel stands, pacing back and forth. I'm afraid, Mom. Afraid that when you find out who's involved, you'll never look at me the same way again. Marta, nothing will change what I feel for you, my son. As Daniel calms down, Marta grabs the notebook, flipping through it quickly. She finds a page with a name nearly faded, but can't read it fully. She thinks, is this the name he can't say out loud? Marta hugs her son. Son, whoever it is, whatever it is, I want to know, because only then can we move forward. Daniel takes a deep breath. Mom, after I ran, I wasn't just hiding. What did you do then? I went after evidence, spent years trying to find out who was behind it all, and I found out that
death wasn't an isolated accident. It was just part of something much bigger. Marta asks, "Something like what, Daniel?" Daniel lowers his head. "A network that hurt people. Young people, like I was back then." Marta's stomach churns. "You mean trafficking?" Daniel nods, tears falling. "I think so, Mom. And I was almost a victim, or worse, almost a part of it." Marta, sobbing, "Daniel, who in this family is involved?" Daniel can't speak, completely shattered. Who is the name he can't say out loud? Why does Daniel believe Marta will hate him after she finds out? Marta hugs her son. "I've waited years. I can wait a little longer. But please don't carry this alone anymore." Daniel, "I promise, Mom. Tomorrow I'll finish." And you? Who do you think is the person Daniel can't bring himself to name? Leave your theory in the comments. Thank you for staying until now, but don't go anywhere. In the next episode, Daniel starts to reveal who's behind it all, and everything changes. Daniel alone in the room, staring at the page with the nearly erased name. He whispers, "Tomorrow, the truth comes out, even if it destroys everything."
It's night. Martha is in her room, lying down, but she can't close her eyes. The ticking of a clock sounds louder and louder. Daniel, in the next room, is sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at his notebook. He takes a deep breath, gets up, and goes to his mother's room. "Mom, I can't keep this inside anymore. You deserve to know." Marta sits up, her heart racing. "Then tell me, son, who is it?" Daniel trembles, his voice barely comes out. "The name on the documents, it was Uncle Henrique's." Marta loses her breath. "Henrique? My brother?" Daniel, crying. "I swear I didn't want to believe it, but I found proof. Letters, photos. He was connected to the man who took me." Marta shakes her head in shock. "But why, my God?" Daniel, "I think he knew the secret about my real father, and he was afraid something would come out. That man used it to blackmail him." Marta, crying. "My God, Henrique, how could you?" Daniel opens the notebook and shows the notes. Meeting dates, places where Henrique and the man met, clues he uncovered during the years he was gone. Daniel, "Mom, I don't think it was just blackmail. I think Uncle Henrique chose to be part of this." Marta closes her eyes, tears falling. "No, it can't be. The brother she loved might be an accomplice to something monstrous. The son she waited years for lived in fear to protect her." Marta hugs Daniel. "Son, you went through all of this alone. I should have tried harder. I should have protected you better." Daniel, "No, Mom, you did the best you could. He's the one who failed, not you." Marta cries, "And now, son, what do we do? He's my brother. But he also destroyed my life and almost destroyed yours." Marta stays silent, staring at an old family photo. "I don't know if I have the strength to turn in my own brother." Daniel, serious. "If you don't do anything, others might suffer, like I did." The house feels colder, darker. The wind slams the windows as if warning that something bad is coming. Daniel, "There's one more thing, Mom. I found out Uncle Henrique wasn't alone. There's someone else." Marta, almost begging, "Who, Daniel? Tell me." Daniel hesitates. "I'm not sure yet, but I think it's someone you trust too." Marta covers her mouth, shocked. "My God, who could it be?" Who else is involved? Will Daniel reveal it in the next part? Marta hugs her son tightly. "Son, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm staying by your side until the end." Daniel, "That's all I need, Mom." The next day, Marta calls the police chief. "I have something serious to report about my brother." The chief, serious. "Come in tomorrow morning. But know this, may change everything." Marta hangs up, looks at Daniel. "Tomorrow, we start rewriting this story, son." "And you, what would you do in Marta's place? Would you have the courage to report someone in your own family?"
Who is the second person involved, and what is the final secret Daniel hasn't revealed yet? Thanks for staying with us until now. In the next part, the truth finally comes out, and it will shake everything you believe in. Marta and Daniel sitting on the couch, hugging, looking at the notebook, focusing on the cover where Daniel wrote, "The truth hurts, but it sets you free."
It's late at night. Marta can't sleep, sitting in the living room, staring at an old photo of her brother Henrique, and little Daniel. How did it all come to this? Daniel appears holding a notebook in his hands. "Mom, I can't hide it anymore. Today, I'm telling you everything." Marta, eyes swollen from crying. "I'm ready, son. Speak." Daniel takes a deep breath, voice trembling. "After the man died, I found another name in the papers. Someone who helped Uncle Henrique plan everything." Marta, barely able to speak. "Who, Daniel?" "It was Grandma, Mom. Your mother." Marta loses her breath completely, the world spinning around her. "Daniel, I know it sounds impossible, Mom, but she knew everything. She helped cover it up. Maybe out of fear, maybe out of loyalty to Uncle Henrique. I don't know." Marta cries, devastated. "My own mother. No, that can't be." Daniel is also crying. "I spent years wanting to believe it wasn't true." Marta, "Son, why didn't you ever tell me before?" Daniel, with tears, "I was afraid it would destroy you, Mom. You had already lost so much." Marta holds his hands. "And still you came back, even carrying all of this?" Daniel, "I came back because I couldn't live running anymore, and because I needed to see you again." Marta, "If I tell the police, Grandma's memory will be ruined, and Uncle Henrique will go to prison." Daniel, "And if you don't, more people could suffer, and I'll never have peace." After minutes in silence, Marta takes a deep breath. "I'll tell them, because the truth needs to come out, no matter how much it hurts." Daniel cries, relieved. "I've waited so long to hear that, Mom." Marta hugs him tightly. "You will never be alone again, my son." On the way to the police station, Marta finds an old letter from her mother, kept in an envelope. She opens it, hands shaking. "Daughter, if one day you find out what I did, know that it was to protect you. I regret it every single day." Marta cries while reading the letter. She knew, and still chose the wrong path. At the station, Marta hands the notebook to the officer. "It's all here. Do what you think is right." The officer, "It'll be hard, but it's the right thing to do." Back home, Marta and Daniel sit on the porch watching the sunrise. Daniel, "I never thought I'd see this again, Mom." Marta, "See what, son?" Daniel, "A new beginning." Marta, "The truth hurts, but it also sets us free. What matters is what we do after." And you, if you had to choose between protecting someone you love or telling the truth, what would you do? Thank you for staying until the end. This story shows that even in the closest families, dark secrets can exist, but it also shows that true love endures all things. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and leave your opinion in the comments. And watch the next recommended video. You won't believe the next story. Marta and Daniel hugging, looking ahead, the horizon. The truth hurts, but it's the only path to freedom.